Hey there friends, I am so excited to share some new products that my friends at Therm O Web sent me today. I have some new Deco Foil. Look at how gorgeous those colors are. Not only did they send me the Deco Foil, but they sent me the Deco Flock, this really handy stencil pal, the Transfer Gel Duo, and the adhesive pen. So I have so many awesome products here from Therm O Web to play with, and I want to show you what this mixed media adverse girl created with all of this. Okay, so I have three pieces of plain white cardstock, and I'm using the Vicky Bouton Let's Wander stencils here. Now, white cardstock, you want to definitely make sure that it's nice and smooth. I am using the Therm O Web purple tape here. You definitely want to make sure that you press this tape down with your fingers to get it really stuck down to whatever surface you're working on, and whatever you stick it to has to be dry. You can't have, a wet medium there. That glue has a very light tack so it won't rip or tear your paper. Now, I am using the Transfer Gel Duo as well as this awesome stencil pal here to really get a nice even layer of the transfer gel on my stencil. And if I notice that I didn't get a certain place, I'm going to add some more transfer gel to the stencil. You want to make sure you get a nice even coat and make sure that you don't waste any of this precious stuff. Now, my stars, it's hard to see here because it's white on white, but the transfer gel is quite thick. Now I'm doing this as I go. This is my first time doing this on this video, so I will realize that my transfer gel was too thick on the stencil, and I'll show you guys how that turns out after I'm done. Now, since I have three stencils, let's go ahead and make three different card fronts. I'm super excited about working with these Vicky Bouton stencils. They are absolutely gorgeous and they create such beautiful designs. I also love that they're nice and large, so I don't have to worry about not getting the design all the way to the edge of the card. Okay, so I'm reusing my purple tape here, pressing it down really well. Again, this tape has a very low tack, so you want to make sure you just use your fingers to press that down. And adding more transfer gel here and using the stencil pal again. Now, with these really intricate stencils, you may notice that when you drag the transfer gel, it's not going to get all the way to the bottom because there are so many little nooks and crannies there. But you want to make sure you get all of that excess transfer gel off of the design. It's best if you have a thin layer of the transfer gel. So I'm just scraping and scraping and scraping here and getting all of that excess gel back into my pot. This one is so super fun. I just love this design. Now, to clean off your stencils afterward, all you need to use is soap and water, and you can use your hands and wipe it off. But you want to make sure that you do that right away after you're done creating. You don't want it to dry on your stencils. Okay, scraping this off, putting the rest of that back in my little pot there, and we're going to create the third card base here. I'm going to grab some new purple tape here. This is the 1/2 inch purple tape. And I'm grabbing my third Vicky Bouton stencil, which is also another gorgeous intricate design, this time with circles. And one thing about using stencils is that you definitely want to make sure that you center that design on your card front. So you don't want it to be uneven. You want, see how I have the half circle on the left side and the right side so that it looks even when the design is on the card front. Now again, this is a really intricate stencil, so I'm being sure that I'm going to drag that transfer gel all the way down and make sure it gets into every little nook and cranny. It's really exciting to try something new, especially for someone like me who doesn't do a lot of mixed media. I'm really excited to see how this turns out, especially with foil. I've really not wanted to buy a machine that uses foil because I really don't need any more big machines in my life. So this is exciting to see how I can get this foiled effect without having a big machine. Now I'm setting my timer here for 1 hour, but I noticed that after an hour, my designs still weren't very dry, and that's because they were quite thick. So I let them dry overnight, and you'll notice that the design dries clear, but it's still tacky. It's actually really cool. Okay, so I have a piece of just plain white cardstock there. I have my card base in the center. That white cardstock is folded, so it's almost like a card that I'm putting my card front in the center, and I'm cutting these beautiful foils, which I'll make sure that I link up to all the colors that I'm using here. I am cutting these beautiful foils in a design on the star card front. Now I'm using the purple and the teal and the pink. And then I'm grabbing this orangey color. The colors are just stunning even before they go onto a project, so I can't wait to see what they look like when they're on a project. So once you fold that into the card, then you just grab your die cutting machine and you put it through the machine as if you were going to use a thin die. So you use the same platforms that you would use for a thin die. I ran it through twice, 3 times. I think 3 times was a bit too much, and you'll see here in just a second that it definitely was. So this is the star one. This is the one that I created originally, remember? And the transfer gel was quite thick. So you can see here that when I pulled off that foil, even though it is absolutely gorgeous, that foil is amazing, that the stars kind of got smushed because the transfer gel was too thick on there. So these really intricate designs, I did these a little bit thinner, so let's see how these turn out. Now on this one, I'm just using one color, and it's still absolutely gorgeous. Wait till you guys see it. So this one I just ran it through once, and this just goes to show you that it still works. You don't have to run it through multiple times. It's a process to learn these things, but look how amazing that is. The other cool thing about it is the design is slightly raised because you use that transfer gel. And so it not only has that beautiful metallic shimmer, it also has that raised texture like it's embossed. I cannot explain to you guys enough how cool this technique is and how awesome it is to pull away that foil to see what the finished product looks like. Now this one has those diagonal lines, so I am matching up my foil lines to the diagonal lines, and this card turns out really cool because I did that. I want to use this lime green color because it is really neat. I'm trying to use all the colors here on these 3 cards so you guys can just see how beautiful they are. I just can't get enough of these colors. They are just so beautiful. The hardest part about about this project is just keeping these bits of foil like together. And you can see me trying to reach for the foil, trying to get the foil pieces because they're so, thin. I'm just trying to kind of stack them and keep them in one area together. So I'm just seeing what other color I want to use here and just grabbing some scissors to cover up the bottom edge of that card, trying to make sure that I get every little bit of it. And then I'm going to put that in my folded card and trim off that excess foil, and then run it through my die cutting machine again. Remember, only once is all that's needed, and it perfectly presses this down. Now look how cool this one turns out because I did it along the lines of the stencil design. How neat is that? And I love those colors together. So super fun. So before I finished up my foil process, I decided that I wanted to go back and redo the star stencil to use less duo gel, just so that I could have a nice, crisp and clean star design. So my gel has already dried and I'm just going back in and adding my foil to this design. And I want to show you the difference of when you use too much duo gel and when you use just the right amount. So I'm just adding a few different colors here to make this a really bright and happy star card. Okay, look at the difference. On the left, you can see how much fatter those stars are because the gel kind of got smushed. And on the right, the card that I'm creating here, you can see how nice and crisp those stars are. So what I'm going to do now is to get that really big pop of contrast. I'm adding this to a black frame, just black cardstock. I use the Gina K adhesive roller there as well, which I really like. Now I've grabbed my photoplay paper, Say It With Stamps, Wish die cut and stamp set. I really like this die cut because it has the thin word as well as the outline, and I'm going to use both here, but look how pretty and thin that is. So I did that in black, and I'm going to go back with just a piece of white cardstock here, just some scrap cardstock that I had lying around, and do it in white as well and layer those on top of each other. Now I want this sentiment to really pop off of that star background, so I'm using the Gina K Designs foam adhesive to get that dimension that I need. And I really love the way that that black and white sentiment looks against that colorful background. I've grabbed a label from the LA Studio neutral die cut labels, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on that black and white label just so that you can see that pop there. I'm using my scrapbook.com black ink here, and when I use a new stamp, I usually just make sure that it's stamping great before I stamp it, and it wasn't great when I did it, so I'm grabbing another label. That's the beauty of these massive packs of die cut labels. You can usually find another one that's the same size. So there we go. That one was a better stamp. Then I'm just going to adhere that to the front of the card. Okay, let's grab this teal beauty, and I am going to adhere this to a piece of teal cardstock behind it. It's slightly different color teal, which I think is quite fun. And it's a different size, so there's going to be kind of a frame around the outside. I'm going to add foam adhesive to the back. This is the Gina K Designs again, just to get that nice dimension and have it pop off of the background. This one's going to be super simple, and the beauty of it is that it doesn't look super simple because it has that gorgeous patterned metallic background. So literally all I'm using here are the scrapbook.com happy little sentiment stamps to stamp a nice little sentiment on a LA Studio die cut label that I had lying around from a monthly kit. And I like that little pop of purple. I think it looks really nice with with the teal. Now you could find some other kind of embellishment that could go along with it that could tie the teal and purple together, but I think it's just such a lovely little card with the label and that beautiful metallic background. Okay, for the third card, this one is so fun, and I'm going to play up those gorgeous colors in the fairy tale foils and use that lime green background. Now you can see where I had my transfer gel a little bit too thick there in that green section. So what do we do when something goes wrong on a design? You just cover it up. It's another way to embellish. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this label here to add my sentiment right over that green portion. So I'm going to turn it upside down so I can cover that up. And You're My Favorite Thing is just the perfect sentiment. This is a really simple and easy card to send to a friend, but they're never going to know that it's simple and easy because it looks like $1,000,000 with that beautiful fairy tale foil on the background and the sweet little sentiment and that pop of black against all that color. I had so much fun creating these cards, you guys. I am addicted to foil now, and I love the fact that I didn't have to buy an expensive machine to do this. I just needed some gel, some stencils, and these gorgeous foils. It's so much fun to try something new when you've been creating as long as I have, and you think you've done it all. Well, you haven't done it all. You guys need to try this, and be sure to check out all of the links in my video notes where I share all of the products with you that I used in this video, and I hope you guys try this out. It is so much fun, and these products are gorgeous. Thanks so much to my friends at Therm O Web. Thank you guys for watching, and be sure to follow me for more process videos in the future. Happy creating!